Okay, so imagine this. You're a thriving business owner, but when it comes to your personal finances, things are a little chaotic, or you at least feel like you could be doing a lot better. Does that sound familiar at all? Because if it does, in this video, what I'm going to show you to do is how to streamline your personal finances so you have the same success there as you do in your business. And there's a tool that I'm going to use throughout the video that will save you hours of time. So if you want to go ahead and get that, you can go to the description below and then download that for free. Okay, we're going to break this down into 5 different parts. So let's go ahead and get started on part 1, which is understanding your current financial situation. So the first thing that you want to do is create what I call the list. That's the in all caps, because I think that it is the most important list that you will ever create in your life. Yes, even more important than baby names or all those sporting events that you want to go to on your bucket list. And this list is basically where we are going to write down all of our assets and liabilities. So if you downloaded the tool that I had in the description below, down at the bottom, you're going to see a tab for the list. So this is where we are going to write all of these things down. And all we're doing is trying to make sure that we get a really solid view of all of our liabilities and all of our assets. Because in the next step, a lot of times what people just get started with is their monthly expenses. And your monthly expenses and income are not necessarily fully representative of what your net worth is. So having a full list of all of our liabilities and all of our assets is really going to help us make smarter decisions when we have it all in one place. Now, there's a huge warning that I have to give here because I see business owners making this mistake all the time. And that is we do not list any of our business assets with our personal assets. This is strictly about our personal finances. And I know a lot of times there can be crossover there, like maybe the business owns my computer, but it's also my personal computer. Don't include anything like that. If it's primarily used for the business and you're putting it on your tax return, leave it as a business asset. All right, now we're going to create a budget so we can get a better understanding of our cash flow. So we want to make sure that we're listing all of our income and all of our monthly expenses on this. You see it all the time with business owners. We are obsessed with our monthly cash flow because we know it's the lifeblood of our business. But because of that, what I end up seeing is when I'm working with business owners that are in my mastermind, is they kind of use the excuse of the fact that they have irregular income. You know, maybe I have a great month here, this month isn't that bad, and that changes how much you get paid. They use that as an excuse not to build a budget, and that's just not a good one. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by coming in here and listing all of our expenses. And like I said, if you haven't downloaded this Excel spreadsheet and you want to use this, you can get it down for free in the description of the video below. If you already have one built out, then obviously just make sure you have all of these components in there because it's really important to make sure we understand this. So yeah, when we're coming through, let's just make sure that we're getting a really good view and perspective on things like our living expenses, travel, gifts, insurance. Now, if you notice, these say annual on here. The reason they say that is because these are normally one-time things. So like if I'm doing a Grand Canyon trip and that's going to cost $3,500, anything that says annual right here is going to break this down into a monthly expense. So you can see right here, travel. That's what I would need to save up monthly if I already know I have these trips coming. And then it breaks it down for you right here. See, for business owners, there's a unique reason why we need to really make sure that we're locked down on our personal finance numbers. And that's because a lot of times we will make professional mistakes based off of personal problems that we have. I was working with somebody in the design mastermind that I have. And as we were working through it, he was explaining how he took on an extra job on a Saturday because he saw that the bank account was just getting really low. So out of desperation, he took this last second job and was like, yeah, I'll just make a couple quick $100 and then, we'll be good. And then what ended up happening was that the job took longer than he thought it was, and it was more labor, and he ended up losing money and he lost time on the weekend to enjoy his life and be with his family. So only then did he find out that his wife actually had a couple checks that they hadn't cashed, and the whole thing was just an absolute mess. But it all rooted from the fact that he did not have his personal finances together, and then that led to bad business decisions. So as business owners and entrepreneurs, this is just one reason that we have to make sure that we know our personal finance numbers. All right, so once we have everything written down, then what we need to do is we need to write down our financial goals. And it's really good to calculate all the little things like the monthly expenses and the vacations we want to have and all that. But the really big number that we need to know is at the end of the year, what's the one number that we have to earn to support the lifestyle that we want to have? So if we add everything up and we're like, okay, I need to earn about $200,000 this year in order to pay for everything and maintain the lifestyle that I want, well, then we know that we probably need to earn somewhere around $275,000 because we're going to have to pay taxes on that. So now we have a personal goal with a very strong why behind it that is now rooted in a business objective. And that is proven to help you perform both in your professional and your personal life. So part 3 is all about cash flow, a business person's biggest nightmare and greatest dream. When you own your own business, it's extremely common for there to be a lot of fluctuation that happens with your revenue. And depending on how you're paying yourself, that could really impact how you're getting paid as well on a regular basis. Could be a great month, could be a hard month, but whatever it is, it's very rare that we see things just go kind of consistent across the board. But just because our business revenue is fluctuating does not necessarily have to mean that we cannot plan for a fluctuation with our income as well and give us some type of range or number that we can work with around income and then planning for our monthly expenses. So here's 3 different ways that you can kind of look at this. The first one is seasonality. If you've been in business for a couple of years, then you should be able to go back and look at historical trends and see if there's certain really big spikes or dips that are happening throughout the year. If you own a flower shop and you see huge spikes in February, it's like, well, that's Valentine's Day. I can probably plan on that every single year. But then if you notice that around October, when everybody's shopping for gifts online, nobody's really buying flowers, you know that that might be a little bit of a lull. So these are things that you should be able to anticipate based off of historical trends. The next thing you can do is for your budget, you can use a 90-day average for your income. So if you look back over the past 3 months and you earned $8,000, $12,000, and then $10,000, well, the average of those 3 months is going to be $10,000. So you can just use that as the number for your income. So you know that, hey, it's probably going to end up somewhere around here, and it'll help you balance that when you have really big paychecks and then you have lower ones. The next thing that business owners like to do is to give themselves a base and then count any extra performance as distributions on top of it. And if you do this, one of the best things that you can do is just map your lifestyle to meet your base. And then anytime you get a distribution for really good performances, then you're taking that and using it to accelerate your financial goals. Understanding your cash flow in your personal life is just as important as understanding it in your professional life. So make sure you know those numbers. Part 4 is automating your finances. And this is normally something that business owners are doing partially in their lives, but they're not doing it across the board. What we're really talking about doing is building a personal financial system. And the reason that we do that is because systems help us save time and then reduce human error. So all you want to do for this is we just want to go to our liabilities section. And this is going to be not just the monthly expenses and different things that we owe, but it's also going to be anything that we have annually too, so we don't have any surprises. And we're just going to come down this list and just kind of check off every single one. Yes, my car payment is being paid off on a monthly basis. Yes, my mortgage is automatically being paid off on a monthly basis. This credit card, I am not paying off even the minimum balance automatic, let alone anything else, just because things are stuck. No. Go back, don't let that be an excuse, and you can still automate at least the minimum monthly payment to be done. That way you are guaranteed never to pay interest on at least that portion or whatever you're willing to contribute to it. And then it doesn't hurt your credit score if there's a month where you miss. Then once everything's automated, I recommend going out and getting an online tool that can just log into all your accounts. And then that way you can just get onto that one thing and see what your actual spending is every month. Then after you're done looking at your actuals, you can go back to the spreadsheet and use that to make projections for the upcoming month. And then also to kind of edit and move money around and be like, well, if I take a little bit from here and I use it to pay off this, what does that end up looking like? Again, you're a business owner, you're a busy person, and you also have a life that you need to go be living too. So one thing that I highly recommend is once you have all of this set up, just schedule 30 minutes one time a month to go and review this. If you're somebody who gets really nervous about this stuff, then do it twice a month, but don't do it more than that because time is precious and we want to make sure that if we're business owners, we're using that extra time that we're not spending managing all this money manually, and we're using it to make more money in the business and go enjoy our lives too. And part 5 is extremely important, and that is staying disciplined on this journey. You are the hero of your story. There's nobody that's coming to save you. Sorry, I hate to break it to you, but Superman is not sweeping in to pay your bills every single month. If you're married, I highly recommend bringing your spouse into that 30 minutes where you're just going to kind of talk and review about the month that you had and then the month upcoming. Again, it doesn't need to be longer than 30 minutes. If you're single or if you're dating somebody, then go talk to your significant other or a friend and then see if they want to do this with you. Make it fun. Have like a snack or a drink every single time that you do it so you guys kind of look forward to it. And look, I get it. There's going to be some things that you just might hate doing. Well, if that's the case and you just can't stand taxes or you don't want to have to worry about life insurance or anything like that, then just hire a professional to take care of those things for you. It's a great way to stay on top of it and not have to worry about it at the same time. Then the last thing I would do is just say, keep this top of mind by committing to learning more, by subscribing to YouTube channels like this one, or following me on LinkedIn, or checking out a podcast like The Adventure with Stephen Corson. That way, you just spend a little bit of time keeping money on the mind and your mind on your money. Because at the end of the day, this is all about increasing your knowledge so you can build the 4 types of wealth and live a life full of meaning and significance. So business owner, don't let inconsistent revenue be a reason not to control your personal finances. If you can do it for your business, you can do it for yourself.